next week on the WB Wednesday.
Thanks. I've become quite adept at cheating now.
The only thing that keeps hurting me is you.
This'll never work.
If I raised a son who could kill, then kill! Yeah!
You're the one who had my name carved into a tombstone.
All new Smallville next week on the WB Wednesday.
This is awesome.
Oh, Clark, hey. Good to see you among the living, man. Check it out. It's the latest talent mix.
Thanks, Pete.
Hello, everybody. Good to see you among the living. Welcome to the Talon Mix, the what I have declared the number one Smallville podcast for anyone who has not seen the television show Smallville.
Prove us wrong. Prove us wrong.
Prove us wrong. I'm Brian. Here, as always, my good buddy Zach. Zach, what's up, man?
Just here celebrating your 14th birthday.
It is. It's true. It's my 14th birthday. The state of Arizona wished me a 14th birthday in the chat. So did Draz. We are, of course, here at twitch.tv/Goblin Voice live on Sunday nights. And if you're listening to the audio-only version of this, you should join us. So the episode of Smallville we are talking about this week is Phoenix Season 3, Episode 2, which aired on October 8th, 2003, which was my 14th birthday. And I remember I've been racking my brain of what could have happened on my 14th birthday, and as far as I know, nothing. The answer is just nothing.
You don't remember what you were doing, where you were, anything like that? Come on, Brian. People want to know.
I assume there was I didn't really know, like, my high school, like, the people who would become, like, my high school friends. I didn't know them yet. I don't know. I probably had a family party. Probably just a family party.
You're kind of on the cusp of, if you're born in October, were you ahead or behind?
I was young.
You were younger than everyone else.
Yes.
So you turning 14, so you're in high school then? I
am in high school. I might be a sophomore.
No, you're a freshman.
I should be.
Yeah, you might.
It's I remember being 12 I remember being 12 as a freshman and a girl going, "You're 12?" Just like, no. I remember being, like, embarrassed I wasn't 13 yet.
So you were just young at every school you've ever been to. You were the youngest.
Yes.
Yeah. You're kind of like Doogie Howser, but without the, like, amazing intelligence. No offense.
No, I'm Doogie Howser, except my parents, like, a couple of times asked, like, would he be doing better if we didn't put him in school earlier? It's did we make a mistake?
Yeah.
Should we not have sent him to medical school?
Yeah. So if we're doing an audio version now, people should be told that I have a happy birthday balloon.
Yes.
In honor of your 14th birthday. And it is dying because it's actually from my 36th birthday about a month and a half ago. And it's just the saddest. If you see it from the side, it's just got barely any life left in it. But
I tried to find, like, a party hat, which I could not find. And admittedly, I probably could have gotten on a train and went somewhere else, but I decided not to do that. So I thought I could make my own party hat with a piece of paper, and I've been doing that. I've been trying to make that happen for the last half hour before we went live, and it's not going well, Zach.
Brian, that's so funny. When trade secret, we meet just briefly before we go on air here. I was gonna see if you had a party hat, and then I was gonna attempt to make one out of paper if you did, but that was my plan. I went to Safeway, it's just a grocery store, and they didn't have it, and that was the end of my search.
Yeah, hey, sometimes things are just better in the idea phase. It's funnier to say we should do that than it is to actually do it.
Look, if we both had party hats on right now, that would be great.
Yes, but we don't.
But hey, Safeway, why don't you sell party hats?
Hey, Safeway, get on that.
I blame Safeway.
Do you know why Safeway is named Safeway? I don't have Safeway. That's not a East Coast chain.
But You know why it's called Safeway?
I
it seems
do.
like.
Do you?
I don't know.
So apparently they used to be cash only because that was a safer way to pay for things.
Great.
And that was their whole thing. And they named their store after that.
There was a Safeway like a mile from my house growing up, and someone got shot and killed there. So
oh, chill, not that safe.
Seemed very safe. No.
Oh man, Zach, did you watch anything good this week?
Not this week, but since we spoke last. So okay, I've been watching Tokyo Vice. It's very good.
Hell yeah.
It has your best friend Ansel, what's his name in it?
Ansel Elgort.
Yes, your favorite actor and overall person.
Everyone's collective favorite person.
But the show is really good. And then I watched it's a thriller from the 90s called Copland. You ever see it?
I know the title. I've never seen it.
It's got De Niro, Harvey Keitel, and Sylvester Stallone.
Oh, baby, what a cast.
Ray Liotta. It's mediocre, but the cast is really good. And then, of course, last week, I watched the instant classic Top Gun Maverick.
What a film. What a film.
Brian.
Yes, Zach.
I want to just turn the mic over to you for a minute. Just go on Top Gun Maverick. Just go.
Like just one of those. I had a big thing of popcorn. I had a big soda. Just one of those movies they don't fucking make anymore.
Yeah.
And I've heard complaints that it's strung a little too like nostalgia heavy on Top Gun stuff, but I don't give a shit about the original Top Gun. This movie fucking ruled.
I didn't find it to be. Yeah, I'm the same way. I've seen the original Top Gun once, and I thought it was fine. I liked the nostalgia for 90s movies, which is like the vibe, just like the nostalgic vibe.
I loved how, and it's the kind of movie we don't really make anymore, where like there's a dopey romance subplot, there's a dopey like interpersonal drama. Also, we're all gonna get in planes in the third act. Hold on to your butthole, like, and it was great.
But it's all well done. It's not
so well done.
None of it's going through the motions. And you know, a lot of IP legacy sequels or whatever you want to call them, they just survive strictly on nostalgia. That's all.
Right.
And they don't do the part where they have to tell you a story with story parts in it.
Right.
And characters and all that.
Even Star Wars, right? Even Star Wars: The Force Awakens, which I like more than you do, is Star Wars karaoke. It's like, remember Star Wars?
Right.
Yeah, that was cool, right?
Look, and anytime you're watching a movie and on the opening credits it says music by Harold Faltermeyer, Hans Zimmer, and Lady Gaga, you're like,
oh,
let's go.
Oh, when do you have sorry, spoilers for Top Gun Maverick. When do you have a movie where fucking Tom Cruise and Jennifer Connelly get into a plane together as like Lady Gaga goes for best original song?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is movies, baby.
Oh man, it was fan-fucking-tastic.
I have not. You saw it on IMAX. Worth it, right?
Yes.
I have not seen it on IMAX yet. My father-in-law is coming to the city this month, so I'm definitely going to take him to go see it on IMAX.
Do it. Yeah, it'll be great. Everyone is playing great. Everyone's doing great in the movie. The direction is great. The acting is great. Tom Cruise, it's the first time he's actually acted in a movie in a long time.
I know. He's not quite just doing Tom Cruise.
Right. Like, you and I, as anyone who's listened to this podcast will know, are huge fans of the Mission Impossible movies, especially the last couple.
Very much so.
But I would not call what he's doing in the last one acting necessarily.
No.
And it doesn't require it. It's not the kind of movie. But in this one, he's actually doing, like, Tom Cruise can actually act, and we forget that because he's busy jumping out of planes and shit.
I was explaining, my wife and I watched War of the Worlds last night because it's on Netflix. A very okay movie. I would say a great first half of a movie.
Yes.
And you get through on Goodwill from the first half being great.
It's definitely a 9/11 vibes movie.
It was 2005, and we were not okay, guys.
No. It's yeah.
But so my wife is not as enamored with Thomas Cruise as I am. And I was explaining that, like, look, he's really good, but I get that, like, it is kind of like he just knows what to do with his face. It's not like there's anything going on beneath it, but he knows what to make his face do very, very well.
Yeah, that's all you got to do. He is really good, and you've seen Collateral, right?
I have never seen Collateral. Zach just exuberantly put down his mug.
Brian, no joke. All jokes aside, Collateral might be his best performance, and it's one of my favorite movies.
Who directed? Is that Mann?
Michael Mann, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I really don't. Mann actually is kind of a blind spot for me.
Ooh, you've seen Heat, right?
I have seen Heat, but I saw it in high school a long time ago.
I almost logged off of this chat. That would have been awkward.
But, like, I've seen Heat kind of, and I saw Heat in Miami Vice. Like, that's my Mann, like, experience, really.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Heat's great. Miami Vice is okay. Collateral's up there with Heat for me.
I know, it's I didn't mean to not see it. It's never on purpose.
No, it's
Have
you ever seen Manhunter?
I have never seen Man. I know all about it, but, like, no, I've never seen it.
Right, you've read Red Dragon, haven't you?
Yeah.
I thought we talked about that. Yeah, you should see Manhunter. It's the better adaptation of Red Dragon. Way better.
Than the Brett Ratner movie?
Yeah. And, like, obviously Anthony Hopkins is one of the greatest actors of all time, and obviously his Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs is one of the great performances.
Right.
But Brian Cox in Manhunter is actually playing, like, a psychopath, like what
Hell
they're
yeah.
like in real life.
Hell yeah.
As opposed to, like,
Anthony Hopkins.
Hopkins, which is great. That's not no shade, because that's a great character. Right. But
the state of Arizona says in chat, Heat, the episode of Smallville where Clark gets a boner. That's what you were talking about, right?
Heat. I mean, that's also a masterpiece. It's a different
a masterpiece of a different color.
State of Arizona, how dare you be 2 years old in 2005?
That it continues.
How dare you?
As, like, we talked about earlier, I was the younger one. Like, even in our class in Vancouver, I was a baby. And so, like, I was used to that, and now it's weird. It's been an adjustment of, like, oh, people are younger than me at an increasing frequency.
Yes.
I was like, what?
You are.
Now, I'm still the special
the
baby.
Oldest person on this.
I'm still the special baby. I had one other thing I wanted to talk about. RRR is a movie I saw this week, and it is an Indian film. It is not Bollywood. It is Tollywood, quote unquote. I'm going to butcher the pronunciation here. It is out of the Telugu province, which has a completely separate industry from Mumbai, where Bollywood is. And, like, their kind of whole thing is, like, it's Bollywood, but, like, if Bollywood is at a 10, Tollywood crunches it to 11. And RRR is basically the biggest movie in India right now, maybe second of all time. Its whole thing is that there's two massive movie stars. They're in this movie together, so it's that kind of thing with this huge director, S.S. Rajamouli. So it's RRR is literally, I do not remember their names, but it's Rajamouli, the director. One of the actors is an R name. The other actor is an R name. So it's RRR. So it's Rise, Revenge, Revolt or something, but, like, that was retroactively done to.
I was like, they just named the movie after themselves. That's involved.
It was a working title, and then they kept it, and they just retroactively made it work. If you can, it's on Netflix. The Hindi version is on Netflix, which is not. my understanding of Indian cinema is because there are like so many languages in the country, they made it in several languages simultaneously. So like actors are speaking in their native dialect and they just ADR the rest for whatever like territory they're in. It's so the Hindi version is on Netflix, and it is just an absolute buck wild. Like if you love buck wild fucking movies, the action incredible, the melodrama so over the top. It's like the music is phenomenal. It's one of those movies that just left me shook in a theater. So we saw a one night only sold out show, where just everyone was going ape shit. Highly recommend. Highly recommend seeing in a theater if at all possible.
Isn't it like 3 hours, Brian?
It is. That's the other thing I think is interesting about like Indian movies is Indian cinema came up independently from Western cinema, so they have their own rules that aren't like ours. And it's movie going in India, from what I've read, is a much more social experience. So like, the movie better be 3 hours. I want to hang out at the movies.
Oh, interesting. I like that.
Yeah, because it came up entirely independently. So like we have our it should be around 90 minutes or like 2 hours, and you should kind of earn it from there.
Are people talking in the movies?
Unclear. I do not know. I don't know a lot about it, but
maybe that's why it's so over the top.
Right.
You got to get through the.
It is in this movie especially, is to the rafters, like playing to the cheap seats in the melodrama department. And it was great. It was honestly all the emotional beats hit. Like even with all the melodrama, it wasn't a joke. When I say it's like buck wild, the movie's not a joke. It's very good. Highly recommend. I highly expect, it's still early, but I highly expect it to be one of my favorite movies of the year.
Brian, this may be more exciting than our podcast, but my cat is really interested in this balloon.
If you're watching the live stream right now, this is what you're missing out if you're listening to the audio version, is Zach's cat going nuts on that balloon. You can just see the murder in its eyes.
It's thinking about how it wants to kill the balloon right now. It's not actually actively killing it. It's
oh my God. And just as you're saying that, if you're listening to the audio version, the cat just parkoured off the wall, tackled the balloon, bounced off of it, hit the ceiling fan, but swung around and it's coming back for more. Zach, all of your lamps are broken.
And like a ninja quiet too.
Yeah, just no. Yes. It was amazing. Amazing. And it'll never happen again. Last this past week thing. Have you watched are you a Stranger Things guy?
I am. I haven't watched it yet because I was finishing Tokyo Vice. But
got it.
I'm gonna be on it.
I just finished season 4, volume 1. Every time Stranger Things comes out, I'm always like, oh God, I always treat it like it's gonna be a chore. And then I get like an episode in, I'm like, oh right, I really like this show.
Right. It's just fun.
It's yeah. And that's how I would describe this latest season. It's just fun. It's a good, fun show.
Awesome. Cool. Are you caught up on Obi-Wan?
I watched the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan. I didn't hate the first one. The second one I've completely erased from my brain.
Yeah. You got to watch the third one so we can talk about it. I'm not necessarily saying it's good, but
sure. Okay.
You're going to want to watch it.
Okay.
You're going to want to watch it.
Okay. I'll check it out.
I want to talk about it. I don't want to spoil if that's possible, but
I'll watch it. I'll watch it tomorrow.
So we can talk about it next week.
Okay. I was expecting to hate Obi-Wan, and I don't hate it. I can't say I'm liking it, but I definitely don't hate it. And I've also forgotten the second. I do not remember the second episode. I fully watched it. I wasn't even playing a video game while I watched it. I fully do not remember it.
Obi-Wan is like, it's a base hit.
Sure.
It's a base hit. It should have been a home run or at least a double. It's a base hit, but it's not they didn't pop up. It's not a strikeout.
Right.
It's like, all right.
I got you. Should we get into Smallville / my 14th birthday?
What is Smallville?
the television show where young Clark Kent becomes Superman. Eventually at some point
Yeah, in 10 years.
and
Yes.
gets boners.
Let's talk about Smallville, Brian.
Wonderful.
That's what the people want.
That's what the people. That's what the listener wants. Phoenix. We are of course reading directly just from the Smallville wiki. Pull it up for yourself. Follow along. So Phoenix is the second episode in the third season of Smallville and the 46th episode overall. It aired on October 8th, 2003, my 14th birthday, where I definitely was not watching Smallville. And
What were you watching, Brian?
no fucking idea. What Wednesdays? I have no idea what could have been on in 2003. Was Titus on?
Okay.
That
Did you say
70s
Titus?
show? Titus, the Fox sitcom Titus. I was big into Titus. I am the one living Titus fan.
No, I had a buddy in high school who's super into Titus. I forgot about Titus.
It deserves to be forgotten about. Let's be real.
What was the other one? Like Malcolm in the Middle? Was that the
Malcolm in the Middle was
Sunday.
successful though.
That was Sunday. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. But even though no, I feel like I was in middle school when Titus was on. Yeah, no, 24 probably still. High school 24 definitely.
He's 24 on Wednesdays
No.
though.
It might
I
have
feel
been.
like Smallville moved. What was
Smallville definitely moved from Tuesdays.
TV lineup? October.
Googling is fantastic podcasting. I love it.
2000.
I say that
It is.
unironically. I love it.
Especially if the key to making it exciting is to say it aloud as you type it in.
There you go. That's all you got to do. Boom.
Yeah.
Podcasting, baby.
No, this isn't right. I typed in 2005. What year is this supposed to be?
2003.
2003. Gosh, get your shit together. Because we were talking about War of the Worlds.
Right.
Oh, shit. Okay. ABC had My Wife and Kids,
Never.
which
have
is
seen an episode
I
of
believe
that.
that's the Damon Wayans show.
I think you're right.
A show called It's All Relative. I don't remember that.
Nope. Nothing.
A show called, oh my God, it's been on this long. The fucking Bachelor.
Oh baby. I have no idea who the Bachelor could have been at that point.
Were you watching it at that point?
I've always been vague. I did not get into the Bachelor until my wife. But my mom always watched it. So it was always on, you know?
Oh man.
Like I was
And then
always always vaguely aware of it in my periphery.
And then at 10 p.m., it was the short-lived, out-of-sight spinoff, Karen Cisco.
Nope, nothing.
So
Nothing.
CBS had 60 Minutes 2,
Nope.
which
Definitely
covered
didn't watch
the American hostages discuss ongoing captivity in Colombia.
Okay.
Followed by
Was
the King
Whitney
of
one of them?
Queens.
Was Whitney one of them?
Followed by the King of Queens, Kevin James.
Wow.
And then Becker. You remember Becker?
Remember Becker?
Okay. Maybe you were watching game one of the playoffs between the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees.
Definitely not.
No. Okay. NBC had the show Ed. Do you remember Ed?
So there was the show Ed, and there was a movie called Ed TV, and I kind of in my brain as a kid put those together.
I never watched.
I know nothing
Ed.
about
either. I remember it being a show, and I remember the guy's face. Ed was followed by The West Wing.
I would watch that later as an adult.
Which was followed by Law and Order.
Man, nothing good on
And then
Network, huh?
on UPN, we had Star Trek Enterprise and a show called Jake 2.0.
I remember that title. That is not the first time I have heard that title. I can't tell you anything else about it, but that title is in my brain.
We had, finally rounding us out, the WB Smallville at 8 p.m., followed by Angel, the Buffy spinoff.
I do love Angel.
Were you watching Angel as it aired?
No, I saw that later on DVD. I saw Buffy after Smallville. My Buffy.
Really?
Yep. I watched it later on DVD. I watched Firefly in Vancouver. And then I liked Firefly so much that I went back to Buffy. And it was funny watching Buffy and going, oh, this is where Smallville got like half of it.
Yeah, right.
More than half of it.
That's like if you watch an Aaron Sorkin show and then you watch any Aaron Sorkin show that was made before it.
Yes.
You're like, oh, I've heard that line.
That's also Joss Whedon shows.
Yeah, and it's fine. It's like,
It's
whatever.
fine.
It still works.
I mean, it's especially, like at the time in that Joss Whedon chunk of like Buffy, Angel, Firefly, Dollhouse, like those, like my brain's like pattern recognition recognized dopamine of like, oh, that's the same like Giles role, that's the same Buffy role.
Right. Yeah.
Man, I liked those shows a lot. And I always like try to Buffy I have for a very long time considered my favorite show of all time. And I keep trying to rewatch it, and it was a time in my life where I was primed for it, and I can't get my brain back into that frequency.
Well, maybe in 10 years, when we're done with Smallville and we're done with the Smallville sequel animated series, which I assume will go for 5 years, then we can do a Buffy podcast where you rewatch it and I watch it for the first time.
Maybe, yeah, okay. I could be game for that.
I've never seen Buffy, so
I figure we're obviously going to be doing this podcast until we die. Just watching
you and I will be meeting to talk about a TV show until one of us dies. I don't know if other people will be listening, but
right.
You and I will be meeting to talk. Yes.
And it'll be Smallville. But if we're doing it for the literal rest of our lives, what's a couple years doing Buffy, you know?
Right. So we take a break and then do Smallville again.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. It almost sounds like a short story about hell.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the end of the show, the end of this podcast is not the end of Smallville or the animated series. It's literally, we do the finale, we just come right back the next week. We do season 1, episode 1.
It's going to be so hard to explain that if I have a wife at that point or a partner of any kind.
And
She'll
then,
be like, oh, you're finally done. You did it.
Zachary.
And I'm like,
Zachary. And one day we will choose an heir. And then they will meet Sunday nights.
Like, what if we both have kids someday and we force them to do this with each other? They're like, I don't even know this person.
Oh, like there's 7 years left on this planet anyway.
Look, Brian, I do think once we finish, we do have to at least do season 1 again, but
yes.
For the people.
I do. No, I'm not kidding. We just start over.
Because we practiced season 1. We got that one down. We do have to watch Zero again, obviously. So
maybe we just. Here's the thing. Here's what would be funny. We start over. We do it, and we do this in perpetuity forever, and we never do Zero again. No one would know, and half the time, like legends would build of like, why? Why don't they do Zero? They keep missing Zero. I was like, I've never heard of that episode. I don't know. Oh, weird.
You think we would get a mention on the Smallville wiki for Zero? Like, the famed podcast Talon Mix has never covered the episode Zero.
There's
a rumored Zero episode that has never been posted.
Beautiful. That's the dream. There we go. I think all of this is canon now for our show.
Canon. The Talon Mix canon.
The Talon Mix canon. If anyone's just joining us, it is my 14th birthday. Because this episode aired on my 14th birthday.
Yes.
And okay, are we ready to get into it?
Yeah, let's actually get going because people are just chomping at the bit.
All right, so last week's episode ended on a cliffhanger. Jonathan and a red kryptonite infected cow. The wiki is currently referring to red kryptonite, but like Clark's also going by Cal in Metropolis, right?
I thought you said red kryptonite infected cow, and I'm like, I missed this part of it.
That
would have been sweet.
cow.
Can you imagine the terrible CGI cow they would have had?
You know, are any of the cows we see, they live on a farm. Presumably they have cows. I'm sure we've seen cows.
I think there's an establishing shot where there's some cows.
We never see cows in like a barn or anything. But Jonathan and a red kryptonite infected cow fall into an area of Luthor Court below street level and begin a brutal and destructive superpowered fight. Jonathan sees Clark's scar for the first time. That's the S that's burned into his chest now. Yes, Zach.
Well, first of all, should we do a recap?
I think we should.
Yeah. Clark ran away from his problems to the city of Metropolis, and he's currently under the influence of red kryptonite, which turns him into not evil, but like an 80s douchebag.
It's
like,
famously red kryptonite turns Superman into an 80s douchebag.
Yeah, like when I say 80s douchebag, I mean like Johnny from Karate Kid. Like it turns him into a member of the Cobra. He's on the Cobra Kai.
Is there a universe? Is there a universe where Red K. Clark just gets his own spinoff someday on YouTube Red?
Oh my god!
Of Red K. Clark.
Brian, I was thinking about this. If you just took the movie Karate Kid but inserted Tom Welling in that role, and he would kill it.
He would kill it. He'd be great.
He would kill it because he's that good at playing Red K. douchebag Clark.
You know what? He could do it now. I'd let him do it now.
He's in Metropolis. At the end of the episode, basically, his dad, Johnny K., made a deal with Jor-El, who is Clark's biological father, to get powers so that he could bring Clark home. So he showed up in Metropolis at the top. They're in Luthor Corp. They're in Lionel Luthor's office. They start fighting. They fall out of a window, and that's where we pick up. Now, you just mentioned, the wiki said that Jonathan sees the Clark's scar for the first time, or
yes.
the symbol, the Superman symbol.
Yes.
What the wiki didn't mention is the reason he sees that symbol is because Clark tears off his shirt like the Incredible Hulk.
And what Jonathan should say is, you've torn off your shirt like the Incredible Hulk, and that's an 8? An 8?
Yeah. But it's just the most blatant, like, we're playing to the teenage girls in the audience.
It is the whole Superman thing. It's that
right, except for Superman has a shirt underneath. I guess, is that supposed to be an Ichi moment? Is that an Ichi moment?
I think the telephone. It's so in the last episode, the telephone booth. What definitely was. Right. I don't know if I'd give it to this one as well.
This one, Clark's just like. Ugh.
If they keep saying the same Nietzsche line over and over, I don't think it counts.
Okay, just counts for one.
Right.
And then during this scuffle, Jonathan K. says, "Son, you're not yourself."
There you go.
Which is something we keep track of in our tallies.
That is what
when the character says that someone else is not themselves,
I think
or
there's
a character claims
a couple of that in this episode.
Yeah, there are. It was a dry season. We didn't get that in all of season 1. And I had said at the beginning of the show, we're going to get a lot of that. And I was sweating. I was like, maybe we don't. Did I just build this up? But we're making up for it in season 3.
Season 3 knew we were behind and is now just revving up the engines of like, oh, we forgot to turn this nozzle. And it got all backed up. So it's all spewing out and it's a little brown.
Yeah, it's like fucking Han Solo just smacked the like roof of the Millennium Falcon and it just went, like okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, so season 1 we had 1 mention of that. Season 2 we had 2. Season 3 we have 3 so far. Baby. Perfect.
Okay, where was I? I'm sorry. Clark runs at Jonathan and pins him to a wall. Jonathan finally gets through to Clark by daring him to kill him if that's how he was raised. power move from Johnny K.
Absolutely.
Instead of punching him, Clark hits the wall and the red ring shatters. Clark's scar burns away and he is restored to his normal self. Jonathan passes out and Clark runs to help him up.
The moment where the scar disappears is definitely got to be on the short list for Walker Lever moments for next year's awards.
Yes. If you're just joining us, we of course do an awards ceremony at the end of every season, and Walker Lever is one of the best categories, I think.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
a hot, contentious category this year, or in season 2. Any other thoughts about the cold open?
No. I mean, anytime you can get a character tearing off a shirt, like not taking it off like normal, like ripping it off.
Not the most ideal way to get a shirt off.
No, but if you're Superman, it's like whatever.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah.
It's kind of the whole, yeah. Cool. So Martha is waiting for them to arrive when Clark and Jonathan stumble through the door. Martha runs into Clark's arms as he starts apologizing for everything. Jonathan collapses onto the sofa and Clark worries that whatever Jor-El did to him was too much for his body to handle. It might just be someday.
Spoiler alert. Brian, I feel like you remember more about the show than you're letting on, if you remember that.
I remember a certain cast member leaving the show and being done after roughly 5 seasons. It's also so here's Jonathan Kent dying is like a crucial part of Superman lore. I think.
I believe it. So I have a buddy he was very into Superman, and he said that in the comics it wasn't until the movie.
I think it was Richard a little interesting because it's sometimes a little like they do it, sometimes they don't do it.
Right. I think in Lois and Clark, The Adventures of Superman, he's still alive.
Lois, yes, the animated series, he's still the Bruce Timm animated series, he's still alive.
So it's not like Batman or Spider-Man where it has to happen for the mythology. It's kind of
right
a choice.
It's I could go either way on it, I guess. In Superman adaptations, I feel like it's been done well both ways.
I would love to see a movie where Superman just goes home for like Thanksgiving and his parents are there, and it's just.
Half of me, I have not seen all of Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, but that show is so schmaltzy, I would half expect that happens.
Oh, I'm sure it does.
Also, I've seen the pilot. It's pretty good.
I used to watch it with my mom when I was a kid, but I don't remember much.
I can't speak for the rest of the show. The pilot's pretty good. Okay. Lionel is in his office contemplating his stolen package when he is approached by a cloaked figure, which turns out to be Lex, who was on a desert island the last episode, and it was weird.
And he kind of lost his mind a little. It was very Castaway, but instead of a volleyball, he just imagined a homicidal maniac.
It's very post-Castaway, very post-Fight Club. Lex pulls a gun on him and demands to know why Lionel tried to have him killed. He wants to know where Helen is and is surprised to find that she is alive and well in his mansion. Helen, of course, is his fiance or his now wife, who maybe possibly left him in an airplane to crash and die. Lionel tells Lex Helen's version of their plane crash. The pilot bailed and left them with only one parachute. Lex sacrificed himself by giving it to Helen. We, of course, you know you're doing really good storytelling when it's you show a flashback of the thing that didn't happen.
So Lex has been on an island. He's kind of losing his mind a little bit. I think Helen, she denies it. She knows when Lex tells her the story that she told, she's like, "Oh, I made it up because blah blah blah."
Right.
I would just gaslight him. I would just gaslight him and be like, You don't remember?
Right.
Like the dude already was on an island and imagined a whole person.
I'm gonna be real. Most people on this show could lie better.
Yeah.
You could you could save a lot of trouble in a lot of situations of the show by just lying.
Right, like every time Clark has Red K and then he has to go back to Lana afterwards and like explain why he was so different. I feel like a personality disorder.
Or like some my medications mix. It's
Right. Yes, exactly. There's something other than like, well, I just can't tell you.
I just can't tell you.
I wasn't myself.
Yeah, it's not good. It's probably doesn't say good things about me that I'm sitting there like, immediately with lies you can tell to get out of this situation.
No, but it's like every human being in the
real fast, I wanna tackle the chat here. Doc Holiday asked, missed opportunity. Did you guys check out Krypton? That was a sci-fi channel series. It was a really good show. They have Lobo. And I did not check out Krypton. I do hear it's pretty good.
Where can you find it? Is that on HBO Max? Probably.
Probably.
PC.
And Doc Holliday also asks, did Smallville ever have Bizarro?
Fuck yeah, it does. Fuck yeah, it does. Played by, your buddy Angel, right?
Is it not just Tom Welling?
Bizarro? Oh, Bizarro. I was thinking of Brainiac.
Brainiac was James Marsters.
Yeah, well, that's not Angel, but he's a Buffy guy, right?
He is a Buffy guy, and he was
Who's he in
on
Buffy?
Angel. He was Spike.
Spike, that's right.
But he is on both Buffy and
Yes,
Angel.
they did do Bizarro. That's season 7. There's some
right.
See, you actually get spoiler alert. Tom Welling as Bizarro. Well, first of all, Tom Welling is Clark Kent saying, "Who are you?" and Bizarro saying, "I'm you, just a little bit more bizarre."
Bizarre. We're still in 2003, or I guess whenever that would be later in the 2000s. We're in like kind of a post X-Men world where like the comic book thing, but not too comic book thing.
Right. Right. It's the X-Men. We're making a movie, but they're not going to wear the bright yellow spandex.
Right.
They're going to wear leather.
Right.
Right. Yes.
It's crazy the trends these things go through, you know? Okay. So Lex sacrificed himself by giving the parachute to Helen in this flashback, but Lionel says he doesn't believe her. Lex refuses to believe that Helen is responsible, and Lionel points out that he had nothing to gain. But Helen is now one of the richest women in the world. He says Lex should ask her about the vial of blood that he returned to her.
First of all, I just want to say, like, I don't know. In my experience, probate doesn't work that fast.
Right.
Like, Lex, they just called off the search. It's going to be years before they figure that shit out with the right. And I mean, is there a way to streamline all that?
Well, depends. Is this lady's contract up? We only got her for a couple. We're gonna wrap some shit
Right, exactly,
up. Time
yeah.
to go. We're really like, this storyline is, Zach, I don't want to speak for you, but speaking for myself, this storyline is what's the bad? It's bad.
Yeah. Well, it's clearly a situation that used to happen in shows a lot more than it happens now, when now they plan out seasons at a time, but back then it was like not even one season at a time, it was like episodes at a time. And it's one of those things that used to happen where they would do a plot line and they would end a season, and then when they came back after their break, they would talk and be like, we don't want to do this anymore.
It's a soap. It's a soap opera. I don't mean that derogatively. I mean it just like that's how we're doing it. We're following storylines and then we're axing them.
Right. And they came back and they're like, okay, we got to write Helen Bryce out of the show.
Right.
And
they always intended to, like, bringing Helen Bryce on. It's like we'll find an end for this. That's next year's problem.
Right, yes.
Some of us won't be here.
I do feel though, if they knew this was going to be the particular end, they would have written the character slightly differently.
But what I wanted to say, actually complimentary, I think it's a compliment to how good Michael Rosenbaum is in this show, especially now in season 3 of like selling it. It's almost not quite, not a full 100, but like almost takes you a second to go, oh, this is really bad, you know, because he sells it. I think he sells it really well.
Rosenbaum's got his sights on that MVP award for season 3.
He narrowly lost out this year, or in season 2, and he's not going to let it happen this year.
I don't think so. I think this might be his year, but we'll see.
Maybe we'll see. Okay, so at the Kawachi Caves, Clark asks Jonathan why Jor-El helped him and guesses that they made some kind of a deal. Jonathan doesn't offer any details, saying the important thing is that Clark has his life back. Clark says he's not sure he wants it back because, as Cal, he could do whatever he wanted. Jonathan says that Clark's problem might not be gone, but at least now they can deal with them as a family. Clark shows Jonathan the package that Morgan Edge hired him to steal from Lionel Luthor. Morgan Edge is, of course, Rutger Hauer.
Yes, slumming it on Smallville.
Poor Rutger Hauer. Said, Rutger Hauer and John Glover, having fun?
Brian, we're going to talk about that. I like... In that scene, I think that's the first time in this show. I'll wait until we get to the scene. Sorry, I'll wait till we get to the scene. But yes, I have a lot to say about that pairing.
Great.
When it happens.
But they're talking about the package that the wiki is dancing around is Clark's blood. That was kind of a MacGuffin, a conspiracy MacGuffin through season 2. And we're in throw season 2 storylines away mode. It's funny, like we'll talk about it more, but it's funny how, as an adult, as a real proper adult, and like with a real understanding of how television works, especially television of the era, it's very funny how what we saw at the time is serialized storytelling is storyline, and get us back to status quo.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Throw it away, get us back to status quo. And this is a very get us back to status quo episode.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of how the Marvel movies work now, right? Like, for all of its cinematic universe and for all of its progressing forward, we kind of get things back to a status quo at the end of every movie. It's interesting.
Yeah. So when they open the package and it's like a little like vial of blood. Clark is like, "Is that my blood?" I was like, "No, it's Billy Bob Thornton's blood."
Clark, are you watching the show?
Goodness.
Oh, sorry, there was more here. It's cut off weird on the wiki. Back at the barn, they open it and realize that it is Clark's vial of blood. They speculate on why Lionel would want his blood as Jonathan destroys the sample. Status quo. Done with this storyline.
By destroy, we mean hurl against the barn.
There must have been a better way, Johnny K. There simply must have been a better way. On my 14th birthday, Johnny K, do it better.
How dare you?
Okay. So to what we were just talking about, Edge and Lionel are discussing their old friendship in his office. I'm going to get through this paragraph, but Lionel asks him about the missing vial, and it is revealed that Edge paid Helen for its location. Lionel knows Edge stole it and threatens to put him away for life unless he brings it back in 24 hours. Lionel says that he has evidence of Edge's involvement in a murder. This scene. I loved this scene. Scene.
So this is where not showing clips hurts us because not visual. I would argue that this scene is the first time in this show where we've had intentional sexual tension between same-sex characters.
Oh man, definitely.
Oh, I'm not saying, I don't know if it was written that way or directed that way, but definitely John Glover and Rutger Hauer were like, yes, that's what's happening in this scene.
Yes.
because they imply that they used to be really good friends. They have a drink. The scene starts with John Glover making a weird mixed drink, and Rutger Hauer's like, "What's that?" And John Glover's like, "Don't you remember? It's a suicide. It's our old special."
Yes.
And then they sit side by side on the couch, and they're talking.
Their faces are so close together.
Yeah, they're talking like a quarter of a centimeter away from each other's faces, and they are playing it.
It's the first time in this show. The way you articulated it is exactly correct. It's the first time, like, haha, it's like they're gay. It's like, and John Glover and Rutger Hauer are like, that's
what we're doing. Yeah, that's how they are fully playing it like they used to have. I don't know if it was a regular thing or what, but maybe they never actually did anything, but there's always been that tension between them.
And it's great. It's genuinely very good.
It is. No, well, they're both two great actors. So it's like, they just saw the material. They're like, okay, how do we make this more fun?
Right. Because they are two genuine pros and like just playing on a teen drama. And like, how do we make this exciting for us? How do we get this up to our level?
Well,
with,
John
like,
Glover's
subtext?
like, I'm about to do a scene with a great actor, so I'm going to kick it up a notch and see what he does.
I'm going to go out there. One of the best scenes, I think, in the show so far.
I mean, definitely one of the most interesting.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's always good when you see great veteran actors just acting great.
Mm-hmm. Give me more of this. It is a scene from a different show.
Yes. And I like I actually really like the scene also in the context of the show, not just the performances, of like, I like this for Lionel of like, yeah, you tried to fuck me. I respect that. Fix it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
No. I'll give you shit. No, I get it. Hey, I would do the same. A gigantic spider has dropped in front of my computer, right in front of my fucking face.
Are you afraid of spiders, Brian?
I just killed it. People might not like that.
Oh,
but
no,
I did.
not anymore.
Not anymore. I'm not like, I don't want a spider to drop down in front of me while I'm doing, but like, I'm not,
no,
like,
me neither. I was not a criticism.
No, I get it. But are you afraid of spiders? I'm not like a panicky, like, oh no, spider. But like, I would prefer the spider would go away.
Exactly. Like, oh, what the fuck? Doc Holliday in chat just asked, did they ever have Batman on the show? Don't get me started, Doc Holliday.
Yes, but no. What?
They tried to get him on for years. For years, the writers tried to get him on, but they could not get the approval from DC or whatever.
It's because the movie. At the time now we're all hot on this like multiverse shit, and like it'd be okay. I believe there is like a Batwoman show on the CW now.
Yeah.
And so like that's all fine now, but at the time there was we can't have movies like the movie properties in with the TV properties. That would be confusing.
Right. They're like, people won't understand because people are fucking stupid is their thought. We would have got it just fine.
Right.
I remember when Superman Returns came out. It was like 2006, which would put it at like the 5th or 6th season of this show. And the people making Superman Returns made the Daily Planet, made the like the sets and things of the Kent property resemble the Smallville sets, so that people wouldn't be confused or shocked or whatever. Stop.
It's stop. It's like, well, I mean, to be fair, anytime I picked up a Superman comic book or saw a cartoon, I did sit there and go, this movie? This movie? this movie? Anytime I saw the cartoon, I'd point out and go, movie? Christopher
Show?
Reeve? Movie? So I get it. I get the problem.
So anyway, instead of Batman, we got the Green Arrow. And they did a really good job with the character that Justin Hartley plays Green Arrow pre This Is Us. He's fantastic. But it's basically like a Batman placeholder.
Right. It's everything they would have done with Batman.
Yes.
So, and like I remember being in school and like wanting it so bad. I wanted Batman on this fucking show so fucking bad. That was the fantasy.
And I talked about it. You and I talked about it like, God, just give us Batman.
Oh, it would have been great.
It would have. You know what? Maybe Smallville sequel animated series. They can do it now.
It's okay. So, everybody, your chat appears to have discovered that John Glover is gay in real life. What about John Glover did not give you that vibe?
Right, yeah, wait. Oh, I thought we made that real clear.
I thought John Glover made that real clear.
Yeah.
By being the best actor on this show, period.
Right, yeah, being like, he's won several Tony Awards. Is that...
It's, oh,
hint,
man.
Hint.
He's so good. He's so
fantastic.
fucking good.
He's great.
He
claimed to have slept with Freddie Mercury in the 70s.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I highly recommend John Glover's episode of Michael Rosenbaum's podcast.
I think that's where he says it. One of those episodes.
Okay. I don't. At least not the one. I think he's been on it a couple times. Anyway, anytime he's on it, it's great. Highly recommend. He is a great time. And now he's in his 70s, and he wants to do the animated series. And I hope they'll, of course.
Ooh, how are they going to bring him back? Ghost, just like Force Ghost, like with Lex.
Force Ghost.
Whatever you have to do to get him back.
Okay. So Clark goes to the Talon and tentatively approaches Lana. He apologizes for the way he acted in Metropolis. Lana says she doesn't know how to respond to him because he says he keeps secrets to protect her, but he's the only thing that keeps hurting her. Clark admits that he's not even sure if he will stay. Lana goes in a back room and starts to cry while Clark looks helpless. Good scene.
Acting much better in this episode.
Yes.
The acting.
Everyone's back in a groove a little bit.
Shaking off the cobwebs.
It's and like we're in that good like teen drama stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is what I like from this show. Do you think we could get John Glover on the Talon mix for Pride Month? And like that's the dream. That would be the dream.
Oh man.
Obviously everybody tweeted John Glover right now.
Does John Glover have the Twitter?
Surely. Any thoughts on this scene? It's good. It's very good.
No, I my only note was that they both did a good job and the acting is much better.
Yes.
Than last episode.
Later, Lex approaches Helen in the Luthor mansion, and she tells him another version of the story, that they had been drugged by the pilot and she couldn't wake Lex. She took the only parachute and left him. He asks her about the vial, and she explains Lionel promised if she gave it to him, he'd leave them alone. She tells Lex she will comply if he wants to get the marriage annulled, but she does love him. Snoozer.
We need a sound effect for that. Oh, didn't you used to have the Homer snoring thing?
I did used to. I do not currently have it loaded up, but that's what I would use right now. I'll need to get one on my audio board. So Edge goes to the Kent farm and asks Clark where the package is. When Clark admits that he doesn't have it, Edge threatens to call the police. Clark pretends to get angry, rips off the door, and tells Edge to never come back to Smallville again. This is a good scene.
Yes. There's an amazing moment when, I think it's after Clark rips off the door, Edge's bodyguard pulls a gun and points it at Clark, and Morgan Edge reaches up and just pushes the gun down.
And
don't even.
It's an obvious.
Don't bother.
It's an obvious choice. It's like, don't get me wrong, and it's the correct choice. But I actually still just liked how Tom Welling did not flinch at all at the gun.
Right? Yeah, for sure.
Like didn't.
But it's just
no flinch.
And like Morgan Edge or Rucker Hauer is so great because he just like calmly is like, put the gun down. Let's not.
Right.
This guy's going to kill you. Right. If you try to shoot him.
I think it's a very good scene.
Yeah, it was great.
I think Tom Welling's very good in it. I think we see a little bit of like Clark reckoning with what Superman could do is always, I think, fun on this show. Because like really at the end of the day, we've talked about it before, Superman's superpower is that he doesn't.
Yes. I like the way the scene ends. So Clark rips the door off this car and tosses it. And they get back in the car and just drive off without the door. Just like take off.
Is that road legal in general? Is that?
Ooh, good question.
I don't actually
Probably
know. Can you drive without a door? Is that allowed?
Wait.
A motorcycle's allowed.
So now we have to ask.
It is not, but go ahead and ask it.
If you're not supposed to drive without the door, does that count as a car wreck? But he could drive. He did drive it away.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, so obviously we should find out if it's legal to drive without a door, right?
Yeah, that's the first step. Yeah,
let's cross that bridge. Is it legal to drive without car doors? So long as your car has the required number of side view mirrors required by law and necessary to avoid an accident, you can legally drive without car doors.
Does he toss the mirror too? That's the question.
I do not have a screen cap. Fuck.
What is the requisite number of mirrors? Look, I'm going to lean no since we just don't have enough information.
Yeah, and it's like you have the rear view. I think you're all right. And we have to like at this point, if like the door, it's so you have to catch a cop on a bad day. You know, you can get this thing home.
If we had evidence that Rucker Hauer got a ticket on the way home, that would be different.
Right.
We just have to add another one to the list of questions for Tom Welling.
Yeah. Hey, did Rutger Hauer get a... Tom, thank you for joining us. A, were those your abs?
First question.
Were those your abs? Second, did Rutger Hauer get a ticket on the way home, you think? Nobody's in. It's fine. Anyway, bye.
Like, he would be like, Rutger Hauer was on this fucking show?
Will you get Rutger Hauer back for the animated series, please? Thanks.
He's passed.
Oh, no. I didn't know that.
Rest in peace, Rutger Hauer.
Fuck, Rutger Hauer ruled. Okay. Clark goes to the Smallville Torch office to apologize to Chloe. He thanks her for not telling anyone where he was all summer, and he admits that he hasn't decided whether to stay in Smallville. Chloe argues he needs to stop running away and face his demons. Good Chloe scene, good Clark scene. Good stuff. Yeah. Good stuff. Just down the middle, good stuff. Boy, he doesn't go to Pete. Wah wah.
Spoiler alert for the people at home. This is Pete's last season on the show.
I don't even think he makes it through the whole season.
Savor the flavor. Soak up all the Pete you can get, because we're not going to see him until he comes back in season 7 with special stretchy powers that he gets from Stride Gum.
Right. It's in the comic that you sent me, one of several. It is a mix comic book and fan magazine of Smallville, and it includes in it an article about season 2, filming the episode, or like the pilot, it was the Jonathan Taylor Thomas episode, and talking about how Pete has an increased involvement.
Ooh.
No.
Pete got some lines.
Except not really.
Yeah, what was his involvement in that episode that he helped follow?
Well, no, it was less. Less more in season 2. Oh, he knows Clark's secret, so he'll be more involved this season. Except not really.
The writers attempt to get him something to do.
Right. Okay. Lex finds Clark packing. Clark is happy to see that Lex isn't dead. Lex offers to help him with the farm, but Clark says Jonathan probably wouldn't accept. And Lex explains he had a severe case of malaria, but was rescued. Yep, he explains what happened in the episode. There's it's a good Clark Lex scene. Clark comes out and was like, Lex, and Lex goes like, it was almost worth being on an island to see your face right now.
Yeah, and then they hug, they embrace.
It's a good scene.
Great.
I always like Clark and Lex together.
Me too. I hope they end up friends forever.
I'm sure that's what's gonna happen. Later, Chloe approaches Lana and asks why she's avoiding her, and Lana admits that she is still angry that Chloe knew where Clark was all summer and didn't tell anyone. Chloe is tired of fighting with her and explains the pressure Clark put on her to keep his secret. She liked being the person that Clark confided in, but she has to admit that the reason he is more comfortable talking to her than with Lana is because Clark is not in love with her. Don't make no sense to me, but okay.
No. That scene is the opposite of a Bechdel test scene. That is
Yeah.
yeah. It's just two girls talking specifically about a guy they both like.
Oh, do we need to keep track of opposite Bechtels? The opposite Bechtel.
Yeah, the reverse Bechdel. There's been a lot of those scenes in this show.
That might be most of them. Oh, fuck. Okay, at the mansion, Helen tells Lex that she is leaving for a while to give him space. Lex surprises her by asking if they can give their honeymoon a second chance. Maybe they're not writing Helen out.
If I tried to kill my spouse by leaving them on a crashing plane with no parachute, and then they survived and came back and invited me to join them on a plane.
The answer's no. The answer was no.
No.
Do you want to drive? Let's drive. Let's take a ride.
Yeah, exactly.
Though also in
What a
Smallville,
boat.
not a good idea.
You're a billionaire. You have a yacht. There's a huge body of water right over there for some reason.
Also, no, don't do that either. Just don't do any of this.
Yeah, let's stay in town in separate bedrooms for a while.
State of Arizona says, how about we take the bus? A very public bus. I like a Draz here in chat. The Beck D's test. Beck D's nuts.
I'd feel like we have to name it after Smallville somehow.
I know. We'll keep it on the as
We'll
more come
workshop
up. We'll keep it on the.
Yeah.
I have a feeling we'll have opportunities to talk about it again. Okay. Clark finds Edge on the farm again, but this time he is holding Jonathan and Martha captive in the barn. He threatens to kill Clark's parents unless he produces the package. Clark realizes he can't save both his parents, so he takes a meteor rock out from a lead box and uses it to slash his forearm and bleed into a mason jar. He collapses to the ground as he tells Edge that that's what he is looking for. Edge takes the jar of blood to Lionel, who tests it to make sure it is identical. Edge then reveals that it is not the original sample, and he got the new sample from a source. We covered a lot of ground there.
Really questionable decision by Clark.
It's, yeah.
Like, if you want to give your blood to this guy so that he, gets what he wants, that's fine. But you don't show him your weakness. Like, he does it, and he grabs the meteor rock and cuts himself open in front of the bad guy. So that the bad guy's like, oh, this guy's allergic to that thing.
Right.
Real bad decision.
Real
you
bad.
could be like, hey, I have super speed. I'll be right back. Like,
actually, probably, if you were really determined, probably wouldn't even have to say, I'll be right back.
Right.
Could probably do it. And then just be like, Here,
I did it.
So, and then he brings it. So Edge Rutger Hauer brings the sample, which is now just in a mason jar, to Lionel. Lionel tests it, brings it to the limo. They're at like a shipyard. And Lionel then takes it and is like, oh, a curious container. And brings it back to the limo where Helen Bryce is. She tests it and confirms it's identical.
No, it's not Helen Bryce.
Is it not?
No.
Oh shit! I just misread that.
No, it's some.
It's another
random
white
doctor.
lady who looks like Helen Bryce. It's another
Yes.
white brunette who looks
Yeah.
like Helen Bryce to
Yeah.
me.
But there is a great moment when Rutger Hauer, Morgan Edge, tells Lionel that he knows the source or whatever. There's a shot of Lionel doing an evil psychotic smile that's like amazing, and it's like this close.
Yes.
And you just see it's fantastic. Just give me more. Give me a spinoff with Morgan Edge, the biggest crime boss in the city, and Lionel Luthor, evil billionaire who used to be lovers and are now just
if you refuse to watch Smallville, watch this episode and just watch the John Glover fucking Rutger Hauer scenes. They're great. Okay, so Edge calls his thugs who tape the meteor rock to Clark's chest and drag him into the moving van just as Lana pulls up. So we cut to the meteor rock, the kryptonite has been duct taped to Clark's chest, and I'm just going to throw out there, how?
What do you mean how?
How'd they hey, tape this to your chest? At the end of the day, like, no.
No, but wasn't he left incapacitated after he cut the blood?
Maybe missed that. Oh, did that fuck
he's
him
an
up?
idiot.
Okay.
And he decided to do it in front of them.
Got it.
But the bigger
misread
question in that scene is the moving van is called Smallville Movers. Does Smallville seem like the kind of town that would have a moving company? Like, unless you're moving from one place, like, why would you need a moving van in Smallville?
I don't know. People move houses, probably.
Moving.
I'm going to be real. I don't have a problem with the moving company.
Really? In Smallville?
No, I don't.
Population 5?
What if you got to move? What if you got to
You
move?
have a pickup truck. You make love. You have to go into Metropolis and get a U-Haul.
I'm going to be real. I'm not with you on that one, but I think that one seems fine.
There's one moving van. The company is just one van. And the guy loans it out to people. I'm just saying Smallville doesn't seem like the kind of town where people are moving that often.
I mean,
It's
I guess.
Like long-term residents.
I suppose that's possible. But what if you move within Smallville? Jonathan Kent and Martha Kent are moving most of this episode.
Right. Which begs the question, where are they putting that shit? Because they're moving into the apartment above the Talon.
A great question. My guess would be storage, but do they not have storage in Smallville, Zach? You appear to be the expert on Smallville's local economy.
No, they don't have storage in Smallville.
Traz asks, do you think their backs are sore from carrying this episode? Okay. Okay, one of the thugs drives away with Clark while the other takes Lana, because Lana conveniently showed up, into the barn. Lana quickly sizes up the situation, smashes the thug's instep with her boot, and grabs a shovel. Some very utilitarian writing here from the wonderful Smallville wiki. Getting a lot done with few words.
She trips the henchman, and then in response, he turns to shoot her with his gun.
With his gun.
Yeah. He's not successful, but like slight overreaction.
As the thug advances, Martha trips him and he falls on his face. As he levels his weapon at Martha, Lana smashes him over the head with a shovel. He drops the gun. Lana goes for it. The thug regains his footing and lunges for the weapon. Instead of shooting him, Lana kicks him and knocks him back against a pitchfork, impaling him. Pretty gnarly.
First death of the season.
And one you're going to have to explain.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. Well, how does a pitchfork, is it just sitting there standing up of its own?
I guess. You could have knocked this guy out and like then no questions asked, but like police are going to have to come and like, so what's up with the what?
There's a guy, dead guy. So why was he holding you hostage? Small farmers.
And you're moving. Yeah. Why is there a movie?
This is our first entrant into the in memoriam for next year's show.
First one.
We're going to have that image of the guy and the pitchfork.
There you go. Okay. On board their private jet, Lex reveals he still thinks Helen tried to kill him. He has done some research and discovered that the area where he was found was unreachable with the amount of fuel they took off with. So he investigated every island in the area and discovered that Helen landed in St. Croix at 7:59 p.m. He guesses that Helen drugged him and paid the pilot to drop her off and crash the plane with Lex inside. Helen pulls a gun and Lex tries to take it from her. In the struggle, they shoot the pilot.
Well, she pulls this gun out, Brian. Mm-hmm. This is the biggest handgun in the history of television. Mm-hmm. And this is the gun she chose to hide in her lady's handbag.
Mm-hmm. The richest woman in the world.
How does she get that past airport security? And like,
I mean, it's a private jet. You can get anything on.
Can you?
Sure.
Like, this gun is as big as the handbag. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no way people don't notice the giant gun in her.
I don't actually. Do you have to like go through like any sort of security for a private plane?
Obviously, neither of us would know that, but I have to imagine yes, since you can use planes to take down other things, right? I don't know.
I guess so. I don't know. But yeah, dude, clearly in that gun situation is hey, yeah, we need a gun for this scene. Yeah, we got guns. Is this good?
Yeah, here.
Jesus.
Here. What?
That day, they found out, no, we need like a small gun. This is the smallest gun we got.
Yeah. They're like, what? We have this on loan from Dirty Harry 6. What? Helen, why are you dragging your handbag behind you? Why does this, like, what do you have in there? Rocks?
In chat, State Arizona says, Google says yes. And even if it was, this was 2 years after 9/11.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, hey.
Look, maybe you can get a gun on a plane if you're a billionaire and it's a private plane, but Lex would know. Like he would have to be like, "Yeah, right. I'm taking this huge gun on the
plane." So they shoot the pilot, which so we're going for 2. Do we need to start keeping track of plane crashes? Is that gonna like chill out for a second?
Yeah,
we're 2 for 2 in season 3.
Do we just do vehicle crashes? Is that like a more broad? We just incorporate it into car crashes.
Or I guess that was I guess technically the plane crash was in season 2 or yeah. Okay. The plane starts to go down and Lex rushes into the cockpit to take over the controls while Helen parachutes away. Well, we're done with that storyline.
So many parachutes on these planes.
So many parachutes. So Clark finds a piece of glass in the moving van. He cuts the binding on his hands and removes the kryptonite from his chest just as he reaches the docks. Lionel approaches the truck with the driver just as Clark blasts a propane tank with his boner vision, blowing up the truck.
Car crash.
Car crash, baby. Lionel.
Car destruction.
Where are we at for the season?
2 for 2.
Okay.
2 episodes, 2 crashes.
As many plane crashes.
Yeah, that's true. More kryptonite inconsistency with Clark's vulnerability to
yeah,
kryptonite.
right.
This time it's taped onto his chest, and he's able to get it off somehow.
Yeah. Okay. Lionel accuses with his heat vision blowing the truck up. Lionel accuses Edge of setting up a trap to kill him, but Edge claims ignorance. Lionel's guards rush him to safety and open fire on Edge. Edge falls in the water as Clark climbs out.
That's not quite accurate of the wiki, I don't think, because Lionel accuses him of trying to kill him, and like his guards are rushing him out. And then Morgan Edge's henchman with the face tattoo just totally panics and starts shooting. Like we could have just all left and worked this out later, but he's like, "Ah!"
Cool, dude. So Draz in chat asks, what is a plane if not a car of the sky? To which the state of Arizona responds, Draz, you joke, but I want to point out that in German, plane is Flugzeug, fly thing, and a car is Fahrzeug, drive thing.
Ooh. All right.
Okay. Lex arrives home to find Lionel at the mansion, congratulating him on turning the tables on Helen. Lex admits to Lionel that all the tests he's put him through helped him survive on the island and says he wants to take Lionel up on his offer to run Luthor Corp together. Lionel accepts and they embrace. Lex seems genuinely relieved, but Lionel seems worried about this new phase in their relationship. I think I'm gonna get through the next scene before we talk about Lex here, because I think we're setting up some good Lex stuff here.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So the Kents are continuing to pack when Clark tells them that he told the Metropolis police where the stolen money was from the previous episode, and that he has decided to stay in Smallville and face his problems. Lex arrives and gives Jonathan the deed to the farm. So Lex has bought the farm for the Kents, and he put their name on the deed. He tells Jonathan that the compass he gave him allowed him to find the island that saved his life. Jonathan says he will pay him back, but Lex just hopes to be considered part of the family. So, of course, we're kind of back to status quo here, but I think we're playing a little more into the fun dynamic of the Kent's influence on Lex and Lionel's influence on Lex.
Yes.
And I think at the moment, Lex thinks he can do both.
Yes.
You know, I think I can
absolutely.
take the good stuff that my father will teach me, and I can keep the good. And you can't, bud. You can't do it.
No. He learned an odd lesson during his time on the island. He learned he came back like, yes, my father was right.
Right.
If I wasn't so ruthless, I wouldn't have survived or something.
But I also think there is for Lex, I think there is an element of still playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think he's fully like, and my dad's right about everything now. It's more just I have things to glean and reasons to stay in the game.
Yes.
And so
absolutely.
the battle for Lex's soul continues.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And will only get spicier.
It's getting real juicy this season, I'll tell you right
baby.
now.
Yeah, baby.
Lionel, Lex, Kent. Keep watching.
Clark is hanging the Kent Farm sign when Lana rides up on horseback. She pleads with Clark to trust her. Clark says that the way he acted in Metropolis is a part of him, and Lana was clearly disgusted by it. He says that he never wants her to feel that way again, and he tried, but he can never be the right guy for her. He tells her that their relationship will never work and Lana turns and leaves, saying he never had to try.
She said, first of all, she says that he wasn't himself.
Yes, definitely.
Which is the second time in the episode, fourth this season. Also, there's an odd needle drop. It's like a big hit song, but it didn't really fit the scene.
It was also mostly the instrumental part, not really. It was White Flag by Dido.
Yes, Dido.
And it was just the instrumental part to the point I was like, what the fuck is this? What is this? I thought it was maybe from a movie.
Yeah.
And it's White Flag was the song that was sampled in Stan. Eminem's Stan.
Oh, no, is it?
Mm-hmm. I think so. I remember. I don't think there were multiple Dido songs.
There were. Yeah, there were. I don't think it's the same song.
I'm looking it up on Google right now. Nope, I am wrong. Thank You was the Stan song. I'm wrong. I thought there was just one Dido song, but no, this was White Flag.
Dido's about to just like light you up for thinking
it's
going to find you.
This is how I get canceled. I can't believe it. But that's the episode. I think it's a pretty down the middle one. It's the the Helen story. It was, we gotta finish the Helen story. Like, we gotta get rid of it, you know.
But bottom line, we didn't need 2 episodes for that. That was 1 episode.
Yeah,
maybe a supersized episode. Like, it was not a to be continued.
No, and I think they knew that too. I think this was just a fuck it.
Yeah.
This was a figuring it the fuck out. It's season 3. I think is really, really good. I think, from what I remember.
That's how I remember it. I remember it being very good.
And these 2 episodes have been okay. Okay.
The first one wasn't very good, and this one was slightly better.
Right.
Next week we get a Freak of the Week. We're back into the good stuff.
Because we're back at status quo. Clark wants the girl. Lex is torn between Lex's soul is torn between 2 factions, and yes. Clark ain't Superman yet. So and Pete will maybe be around at some point. He's not in this episode at all. Who isn't? Pete.
Oh yeah, he's in the last episode for like 30 seconds.
So we got some needle drops this episode. Maybe Tomorrow by Stereophonics, In the Sky by Ginger, and Salute d'Amour by Charles Gounod, and White Flag by Dido. Let's see. I'm looking at nothing interesting about the title. The title of this episode is Phoenix. Clark blasts a propane tank with his heat vision, blowing the truck up and yet surviving. This is similar to how a phoenix burns itself on a funeral pyre and returns from the ashes. I'm gonna give that a hard maybe, Smallville Wiki.
Bless you, Wiki writer. Really putting in the effort. Really just 110%.
You know, are you good and stretched? Wiki? This is here's some fun facts. This is the first time Lana's maroon Jeep Liberty is seen. Lana's famous maroon Jeep Liberty, Zach. We've been waiting.
So how old is she? She has a Jeep Liberty. She's 16, turning 17 this year.
Yes.
In the show.
Yes.
But Clark has been driving a pickup truck for a while, so.
Yes. It's a farm
town. Small town, Brian. No one cares, except for they also have a moving company.
I don't quite see the connection.
Brian, you better fucking get on board with this moving company thing.
This line in the wiki is really long. I don't know what it's about to say. I'm about to just cold read it. Other than the line of dialogue in which Clark says he called the police to tell them there were where the stolen cash was, no other mention is made of how Clark and his parents reconcile the fact that Clark robbed banks and ATMs and stole thousands of dollars to pay for a penthouse apartment and luxury car.
Well, I mean, what do you can't reconcile that
No,
without going
you
to
gotta
jail.
sweep
So
that one
they're
under the
fucking-
rug, baby.
I don't think they mentioned how we reconciled the dead body out in the barn, though, with the pitchfork through it.
Chloe remarks that Clark ended 2 years of Lana lusting pretty easily, but in fact, Clark has, by his own admission, been lusting over Lana since primary school and continues to do so.
2 years of televised Lana lusting.
Right. This is the first official breakup. This is the first official breakup of Clark and Lana.
Are they keeping track of it?
I guess so.
Okay, so we don't have to.
I guess not.
First official breakup.
Dr. Teng is the 10th DC Comics character to be adapted in the series, albeit with a gender change. I don't know who Dr. Teng is.
I think that's the person in the car who tested the blood.
Must be. Here's a good one. Jonathan seems to have forgotten about green kryptonite when he thought about a possible way to get his son back. And if he had thought of it, eventually he would not have died.
A little bit of editorializing there. I love it. That's so true.
You see, Smallville Wiki.
Oh my God.
You see, John Schneider still would have wanted to leave the show.
No, I think if I remember correctly, he didn't want to be killed off.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, he
Very
wanted to
interesting.
stick around.
We'll look into that when it comes time.
When the time comes.
I believe that's around season 5. Interesting. I'm surprised they would have done that.
That reminds me of a quick story. I know we're almost done.
No,
have you ever
good.
seen the movie Executive Decision?
No, that's not ringing any bells.
It's a thriller from the mid-'90s. It was starring Steven Seagal and Kurt Russell.
Oh, baby.
And it was about a plane getting hijacked, and like Kurt Russell and Steven Seagal take a team up there, and they board the plane with a stealth bomber, right? They come up, a stealth bomber comes to the bottom of the plane, and there's like a little tube, and they like sneak on the bottom. It's kind of a Die Hard thing.
Sure.
The movie was advertised as a Kurt Russell, Steven Seagal movie. But the big secret was that Steven Seagal's character dies before they even get on the plane. He dies. He dies in the mid. He's in the middle. He's in the little chute, the tube, and the stealth like has to leave and crashes, and then he just like flies out. He dies, obviously. But the day came to film that scene, and Steven Seagal, who's never died in a movie, has a change of heart. He's like, I don't want to die in the movie. And he tries to convince them to have it so that he just holds the planes together. He holds the stealth bomber and the 747 together in the scene. This is as John Leguizamo, who's also in the movie, tells this story.
Steven Seagal, man. Steven Seagal, man. Ladies and gentlemen,
I just
Steven
love
Seagal.
the hubris to be like, we've written this movie. We're filming the day of the filming. I can't. I don't want to die in the movie.
I don't want to die. See, well, I mean,
what if I just held the planes together?
This is a little known thing about Steven Seagal. If he dies in a movie, he dies in real life. So, it's like, can you really blame him? Can you really blame him? I think we are. Were we keeping track of like Lex's like kind of like historical allusions?
No, we said that we should have though. We called it the evil Wilson of the episode.
Right. So we have here Lex mentions the Old Testament story of Abraham and Isaac, in which Abraham was supposed to sacrifice his son as a test of faith. This is one of Lex's frequent biblical references.
Yes, it's a evil Wilson named after the character Wilson from Home Improvement. He used to teach Tim Taylor the lesson of the episode, but he would tell him some historical story or allegory. And in this, it's either Lex or Lionel, so it's evil. So it's the evil Wilson of the episode.
Zach, anything else we got to go over? You ready for the ending spiel?
No, I'm ready. Let's do this.
Beautiful. This has been the Talon Mix. Hey, the audio version is available wherever your podcasts are, and you can join us live for when we record Sunday nights at twitch.tv/Goblin Voice at around 11-ish. Let's see. I have another podcast. It's called Brian and Eric Don't Belong Here. It's wherever your podcasts are. Let's see. This last week, we had Petrona Rajovic. We talked about all the weird stuff in Florida. It's a really fun episode. This coming week, we have Jenna Stieber.
You did not cover all the weird stuff in Florida.
Sorry, we covered roughly 8 weird things in Florida. Thank you for keeping me honest.
Yeah.
This next week, we've got Jenna Stieber on. We're going to talk about the Birkin hair murders, which is a very famous story, but if you haven't heard of it, it's a darkly funny story, and I think it's a really good episode. That's Brian and Eric Don't Belong Here, wherever your podcasts are. I think that's it for us here. Hey, Zach, do you have a question for the Smallville gods?
Do I have a question for the Smallville gods? Yes, of course I do. Well, obviously. Am I going to come up with a question beforehand next week so that I'll be ready?
Good night, everybody.
Good night.